You've just entered A Grown Woman's Perspective with Rochelle, and I am Rochelle. I'm here to review and discuss with you all the things that are going on your screen, whether it's TV shows, whether it's movies, whether it's on the internet, wherever it is. I'm here to discuss it with you, especially if it interests me. Or if you, as one of my viewers, my viewing audience, the lovely people out there want me to review a particular thing, listen, I'm here for it, okay? I'm here to give you a grown woman's perspective. And so before we jump into the information for today, I want you to go ahead and hit the like button. Hit that thumbs up, okay? So that this page and this channel can grow. And then also, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Now, why would you subscribe, right? Well, it's because I'm going to be putting out content, and it may be content that you're interested in. And I want you to get notified, and I want it to show up in your feed that it's there. I mean, we're going to connect. We're going to have some fun here, right? And so you definitely want to stay connected to the channel. And then, as always, we're going to meet down in the comments. We're going to discuss these things further because I want to hear your perspective as well. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into what we're here to talk about today. So Tyler Perry he had a program. It was on, I don't know if it was on OWN or if it was on BET, but he had a program. It was a 30-minute special where he talked about the COVID vaccination. Now, you may or may not have seen it. I actually almost missed it, right? Because I was watching another show and I saw an advertisement for it. But then when I went to search in my guide, it didn't show up as what it was called. It showed up as a movie that was supposed to be on, but I had to go back and double check the time. And I just went ahead and set my DVR to catch it just in case. And it happened to be that that 30-minute special was in that slot like it was supposed to be, but it wasn't named this thing. So you may have missed it, but just never fear. I caught it, so I'm here to tell you all about it. And so he wanted to do this special on getting the vaccine. Now, the very first thing that came to my mind was, so now is the government or whomever is responsible for this, are they actually using someone that they think we trust, or they think we look up to, or they think that we listen to actually try to convince us to get this vaccine? That is the very first thing that came to my mind. Now, I know that, he's smart enough and these networks are smart enough to spin things to sound like that's not what it is. But I'm telling you now, that is the very first thing that came to my mind before I even saw it. But then as soon as he started talking, he was like, people trust me. And I'm like, wow, is that what we're doing now? Okay. So he claimed that he's not trying to convince us to get it. He only wants to educate us, right? And so he's like, so I was like, okay, let me take him at face value. Let me try to turn off any hat or any face of judgment and just take him at face value that he's not trying to encourage us to be guinea pigs, right? And just listen to what he has to say and see what direction he's going to go in on this particular special. And so he says that Black people are disproportionately more affected by the coronavirus, which is why he thinks it's so important for us to hear this information. Now, he had two doctors on this special with him that he introduced. The first one was Carlos Del Rio. He's an associate dean at Emory University, and he's also an epidemiologist of infectious diseases. He studies them to find out how they work, why they are infectious, and all of those types of things. So he was the first guest. The second guest was Kimberly Manning from Emory and Grady. She's a graduate of Tuskegee University, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about her and my thoughts on her as we move through this commentary, okay? So Dr. Del Rio, he claims that COVID may come from bats, which we've heard that before back when it first hit the scene a year ago. He says there will undoubtedly be other pandemics in the future. So this is not the last of the pandemics that we are going to see in our lifetime, most likely. Tyler Perry's concern is that the government is trying to move forward with these vaccines at warp speed for political gain. And I think that we've all seen that, right? As we had one president going out and another president coming in, everybody was kind of trying to work their agenda for the safety of the public, but they were trying to do it so fast so that they could either get voted back in or get voted in. We know that it's all mainly about political gain. Dr. Del Rio said that Trump put a lot of pressure on the FDA to approve a vaccine to actually beat the election. So he was trying to make it happen faster than it really should have happened, because he was like, if we can get this out, then I can get these people to vote for me. We understand that. We saw it as it was happening. We saw him go from not giving a damn about the coronavirus at all to trying to hurry up and get this vaccine done. So we got a chance to see that. We know that what he's saying is true. He also says, this is Del Rio, he says that this virus is very similar to SARS. Now, this is a grown woman's perspective, right? So at my age, I remember SARS. If you're a younger person, you may not remember SARS when that was a big thing. You can look it up. It was wild and it was crazy, and it had everybody ripping and running and scared to death, right? But he says that this is very, very similar to SARS. He says that Moderna and Pfizer felt no pressure to come up with a vaccine. Now we know that's okay. We know that's BS, right? We know that's BS. So then we had the other doctor, Dr. Manning, come in, and she wanted to let us know that a Black woman is at the center of the creation of the mRNA. She goes on to explain the mRNA, but basically it's the vaccine to help you build up immunity to the virus, okay? So that's in a nutshell what it is. And then, Dr. Manning, she explained what this means in like hood verbiage, in my opinion. It was a trip the way that it was almost like they put her on there to really talk to the Black people, because she was like, so it's like if you like on the corner and your homie this, and I was saying like, really, this is how they brought this doctor on to try to talk to us again, to try to convince us to get this vaccine. I didn't like it at all. And maybe it was helpful for some people, but for me, again, this is a grown woman's perspective, I didn't appreciate it at all. So the mRNA, this particular vaccine is a code that lets the body know to discard the virus, but the vaccine itself dissolves in your body. So that's their way of saying that it's not going to harm you. Okay, so there were some clinical trials. They said that Pfizer had 30,000 people and Moderna had 40,000 people. And, and they made a comparison to tell us this is a large amount of people, because there was a worldwide HIV trial recently that only had 5,000 people in it. So they're saying that this was a great trial because there was a lot of people in it. So Tyler Perry is like, so how do we know the long-term effects? Now, Del Rio says mRNA was used in the Ebola vaccine for 2 years, and most of the side effects occur within your first 2 months. So basically, if you survive outside of those first 2 months, then you're good. Okay, so I guess we should go on and take that chance, right? They said that people under 16 are excluded from the vaccine because there's no data yet on people that young. They also said that the CDC does have data on 3,000 pregnant women, and that'll be available for us in the next few weeks. And the way that they were able to come up with that data is because women actually got pregnant during the time that they were going through the trial. So they kind of accidentally got data on pregnant women. And so Tyler Perry says, is this all about money? Is this all about big pharma? Del Rio says, it is about money, but this is a pandemic, so a lot of money won't be made. They're like, billions of people need this, so really it's about who has the cheapest version of the vaccine that's really going to be the winner. So I'll let you make your decision on exactly how you want to translate that. Tyler Perry says, do the 2-shot doses work, or will there need to be periodic booster shots? I think that's a great question, right? Are we good after the 2 shots, or are there booster shots that are needed? So Dr. Manning the lady, she says, we don't know how long immunity will last. If you get one shot, your immunity is at about 50%. And after two shots, your immunity is at about 90%. Dr. Del Rio says, you'll see the virus, but you won't get sick because the vaccine is going to help you build up immunity. So you could still get the coronavirus with the vaccine, but he's just saying you won't get sick. I mean, to me, I don't want to put the foreign object of the vaccine in my body. That's the main thing for me. But that's just me. Everyone make your own decision. Tyler Perry said, can you still get the virus with the vaccine? Dr. Del Rio said, that's a really good question. We don't know yet. The studies were only done to see if you'll still get sick. At this point, to me, this is laughable, right? We don't know yet. But put the vaccine in your body anyway. Let us test it on you. Okay. Tyler Perry says, so the vaccine prevents you from getting sick up to 90%. So Dr. Manning says, it depends on which vaccine you get. It could be 95%. Then Dr. Del Rio say 100% is going to keep you from going to the ICU. But you still need to wear your mask until we use you as guinea pigs and get all of the data. This is crazy to me. So they said the AstraZeneca vaccine and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and the Chinese vaccine are all vaccines where they put a flu virus with a piece of COVID in it. What? So like any vaccine, they're actually injecting you with the thing, just like they do with the flu shot. They're injecting the flu into you, even though they claim that it's dead and dormant, blah, blah, blah. That makes no sense because people get the flu when they get the flu shot. They're actually injecting you with COVID. So with these three companies that I just named, they're not only putting the COVID virus in you, but they're also putting the flu virus in you. They're mixing it together to make a cocktail to see how you are going to react to that if you so choose to be one of those guinea pigs, like I said. Then Tyler Perry admits that a lot of people trust him. I said that. He says it again. And that's why he did this special. Poor people and black and brown people are getting this, meaning COVID. Dr. Manning says in Georgia, because that's where these doctors are, that's where Tyler Perry is, that happens to be where I am, black people are 30% of the population, but we're 80% of who was hospitalized. And so, guys, we know that, you know, there is a conspiracy to that, right? Because it's kind of like the prison population. And we're this amount, but we're this amount in prison. And so it's the same thing with this virus. And we know that. And it's unfortunate for our people that we are dealing with this, but that's what it is. But it also gives them the leverage and the opportunity to now push this vaccine into our communities because they have pushed this virus into our communities, and it's unfair. And it is a way to have population control and all of the things that they do when it comes to things like this with us. So education is key. Education is key, and getting yourself to a financial position where you're not subject to these things is absolutely key. And so let me just take a quick pause to encourage you, number one, to like this video. Number two, to subscribe to this channel so that you can get more content from me on a grown woman's perspective. But as we talk about changing your financial situation, number three, you want to go ahead and you want to follow my Wealth Building Strategies YouTube page as well. I'm definitely going to link that in the description box. So check for that, because we have to change our financial situation in order to not be subject and subjugated to things like this. So let me jump back in. So she said, this is Dr. Manning. She says she wants people of influence to get out there and get their vaccine. basically be the leader in being a guinea pig and to get other people to get it. So if you're an influencer, she's like, yeah, use your platform to get other people to get this vaccine. Okay. Now, we're talking about the side effects now. So Dr. Del Rio says there's a difference between reactive genicity and actual side effects. So people could be allergic to something in the vaccine. And if you had an allergic reaction to the flu vaccine, then you'll probably have an allergic reaction to the COVID or the coronavirus vaccine. He asked about the people that they're showing that are getting Bell's palsy from getting the coronavirus vaccine. Now, if you haven't seen this, all you had to do is a quick Google search, and there are a number of people that are claiming to have contracted Bell's palsy from the coronavirus vaccine, the COVID vaccine. This is the statement that Dr. Del Rio made. He said the people that got Bell's palsy may have gotten it because they were going to get Bell's palsy anyway. If you get into a car accident after getting the vaccine, that doesn't mean the vaccine caused it. That's an idiotic statement if I've ever heard one, because that's totally different. Hey. We need millions of people in order to assess this. We need millions of people in order to assess this? Come on, bruh. Come on. Dr. Manning then comes and says, Bell's palsy is very common. Are y'all crazy? Are y'all crazy? She says a lot of people that get Bell's palsy recover. She's like, yeah, you shouldn't go to the club after you get the vaccine. Girl, she tried to bring all of her hood training into this special. Now, these analogies and this type of verbiage that she used from a grown woman, a grown Black woman, to me, it was very offensive because I felt like from her as well as from Tyler Perry, as well as from the network, they were trying way too hard to cater to us, to get us and encourage us to do that, to do the thing where we're going out getting this vaccine. Now Tyler Perry decides, I want to get the vaccine. And then he asks, is it about the amount of exposure you have to COVID that determines your sickness? And Dr. Del Rio says, we don't know. It could be. Right. Well, everything could be. Everything is a possibility, right? So this doesn't seem very scientific to me. He says, what we do know is that the older you are, your mortality starts to go up. Ladies and gentlemen, the older you are, your mortality starts to increase in life, not just with COVID. So let's not be fooled by these types of statements. I think that they're trying to insult your intelligence. They said men are more likely to die than women, and anyone with a BMI over 30 has a higher chance of dying. I think this is in life, though, right? These are things that we've been hearing for years before COVID even came on the scene as a thing to the masses. So let's be real. Dr. Del Rio said he is concerned about being there for his grandchildren. That's why he wants to do it. He said he wants to be able to have Thanksgiving with his family this year. Dr. Manning says it's not just death, but it's also disability. She talked about how people are becoming disabled with COVID. And I'm not doubting any of these things. I just don't know that this vaccine is the answer. So with pre-existing conditions, you're more at risk. And I 100% wholeheartedly believe this because I know plenty of people, the people that I have known that have had it the worst with COVID are those with pre-existing conditions, whether it's lung issues, whether it's diabetes, whether it's just obesity. They are, the ones that have had it the worst and have had the worst time trying to recover from it. So I strongly believe that that is true. Tyler Perry says, so why should people take the vaccine? And Dr. Manning says, so they can get back to work. This 'bout us. And Dr. Del Rio says if you want to have Thanksgiving with your family this year, then you should take the vaccine. Now, for me and my family, we had a beautiful Thanksgiving in November. No vaccine. And we all were fine. And I hope the same happened for you. And then they show at the end that Tyler Perry got the vaccine. You know, they showed Dr. Del Rio giving him the shot, and he said he didn't feel anything. And so I believe, you know, that was in an effort to try to encourage us to get the vaccine. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you, of course, make your own decision, which we all get to make our own decision. Me and mine, we will not be getting the vaccine. I think that there's just too many unknowns. I don't think that it's necessary. I think that as long as you're healthy and you are doing things to maintain your health and continuing to learn and get better, that you are being very preemptive and not just out here living reckless, that you, even if you do contract COVID, that you will, you'll be okay. And I don't think that this vaccine is going to keep people from dying. I think that it's probably adding insult to injury, adding fuel to the fire, actually, by adding in now this vaccine. But again, make your decision. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and we have to talk about this down in the comments. So I'm going to respond to everybody that comments because I definitely want us to continue this conversation. This has been Rochelle Hazel with A Grown Woman's Perspective. Thanks for joining me, and I'll absolutely see you on the next video. Bye.